What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another YouTube video. My name is Tyler. This is Coach. We're part of the FF Mediators here on the FF Faceoff YouTube channel. Today, we're going to be talking about rookie draft strategies. It's a very sensitive topic. We're coming up around the NFL draft, I think just a few days away. And we just wanted to kind of give you some tips and tricks to remember when you're going into the NFL draft and you're seeing all these landing spots as to where these rookies are going to play, how that might affect their dynasty value. The one thing that I can't overstate enough is every rookie pick that you have will continue to accrue value no matter how long you hold them until your rookie draft happens. It happens every year. Your rookie picks during the season, people are willing to ship them out. They're willing to buy that production they need. And then when the rookie draft comes back, they're willing to pay to get back in, even if there's a tax on it. Me and Coach, we've seen it time and time again where you can get rid of that pick and you're sitting there after your season going, why did I do that? Coach, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, even the day of, I mean, as your draft is happening, people are wanting those picks, man. They're dying to have them. Like, that's the perfect time to capitalize. I myself love to at this time of year try to make some of these trades when really I'm better off to just wait until the draft gets closer. The closer the draft gets, the more valuable your rookie picks become.
I think that just goes back to us being trade addicts. We're always looking, trying to make our team better and play with the values a little bit. And sometimes that can get us in a little bit of trouble if we're not too careful. Um, the next strategy that we had here is your first round quarterbacks that are going to go in the NFL draft. They hold their value. Now, at this point, like I said, this is pre NFL draft. We don't know how many quarterbacks going in the first round. Right now, we're kind of suspecting three, maybe four. That's Cam Ward, Shador Sanders, Jackson Dart, and then possibly Jalen Milrow, based on some information Coach may have. But you got to keep in mind, these guys will hold their value. They maintain dynasty value very well, especially in super flex leagues. Look at Bryce Young, for example. People were out on Bryce Young after his rookie season, and even into his second season. And he came back at the end of last year, started to look a little bit better, and now he's still worth a first. And that's about as bad as you probably could have played realistically. I mean, if you get somebody who's even average or even a superstar, that value shoots way up.
Yeah, like a middle of the road NFL quarterback in Superflex is worth a first round pick. Like that's just where we're at in Superflex, and that's how it works. Quarterbacks are worth so much. So you got to keep that in mind. Like if you're sitting there with the 108, 109, and you can get a first round quarterback, then you got to jump all over that because the value is just too much to pass up.
Yeah, and absolutely. I mean, you nailed it. Like those first round quarterbacks hold their value, like we said. So, our next tip here, this kind of goes into play with the people that you may really be targeting in your drafts. Um, and it's kind of worded a little differently, but it says don't draft your like late day two, day three guys over those people that the NFL has told you are day one and day two caliber prospects. You're kind of being fluid here. Whenever you have a guy that you're really convicted of, and you're like, this guy in my book, he's going to be the next best thing. If the NFL comes back and they say, you know what, he's only really like a fifth or sixth round pick to us, and you had him graded as a second round pick, they obviously view him a little different. And we've already seen it time and time again where the round that they're drafted in dictates their contract value a lot of times. So you got to be fluid. You got to be able to change expectations. You're allowed to still have your convictions, but you got to be able to change your expectations on that player and where they may fall.
Yeah, and if you're a big dynasty guy like we are, you're probably on X and you're reading all the stuff on a daily basis. And that place gets crazy this time of year with all the different prospects and all the different sleepers and this and that. What you really got to pay attention to, like Tyler said, is where they actually get drafted, along with their landing spots. Yeah, you can't forget that. That's super important. But that, like he said, if a guy's drafted in round two, you can't go around drafting a fourth round draft pick over the guy that got drafted in round two just because you think you're some kind of expert. Just relax and let the NFL help you here.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can use it as like breaking tiebreakers, right? If you've got guys in tiers, one guy goes in the second round, one guy goes in the third or fourth round. Use that to your advantage. The NFL's probably put them in this tier for a reason. They maybe they had a better landing spot, like Coach said, so maybe that works out for you. Maybe you can use those as tiebreakers. And like I
Mhm.
said, be fluid. Don't be so stuck in your way that you've got this player penciled in as your pick in the late half of the first round or the second round, and then he drops away in the draft, and now you feel like, am I reaching at this point? Just kind of something to keep an eye on. That being said, if you're convicted about a player, don't be afraid to go after him within reason. You know, you don't want to go in the first round and start drafting fifth round wide receivers and running backs off the board. You want to do it in a fashion that value wise makes sense, right? Like you don't want to do all that like we just kind of talked about, but stick with your conviction on those guys. Coach was a big Puka fan. He got him in the third round years ago, and look at how that turned out. Dale, Matt was a big Bucky Irving fan last year, and he's now a possible top five dynasty running back at this point. That's a debatable topic, but
Mhm.
these guys, we were convicted on them as a group, and it worked out. So just kind of whenever you go into the draft, if you've got a player you like, stick with them, but know that their landing spot and their draft capital may affect it a little bit.
Yeah, well, I went into last year's draft, the early second round pick, thinking, I want Bo Nix. Like I like Bo Nix a lot here, and all of a sudden he falls to me, and I'm just tickled to death because that's the guy that I had my eye on the whole time. Like I didn't want to. You can't overthink it right there. There may be another guy that other people ranked higher. You got to go with your gut at that point and take the guy that you feel like is going to be the most successful.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, that was your guy from the get go, and he fell to you in the draft. And then I know you were ecstatic
Hmm.
whenever you got him, because
Hmm.
that was the guy you touted all along as being, your dude. You had your name stamped on him, and here you are. Now you get to kind of revel in his rookie season that he had with the Broncos. I'm sure Pete loves that too. So, um, but the last tip we want to say here before we kind of wrap up is don't be afraid to trade back. We always say here, we draft in tiers, and that's a huge key for accruing value on your team. If you've got four or five players you have in a tier, and you've got multiple picks in a certain round, or you're just trying to move back, don't be afraid to move back four or five picks, net an extra pick, whether that be this year or next year. And then you can use those to either move later, pick players next year. There's so many options that you have whenever you're able to do that and still possibly get the player you wanted, like Coach just talked about. It's a huge value gain for your team whenever you're able to do that.
Yeah, like the mid to late second round to me is the sweet spot to trade back. Like if I'm sitting in that spot and there's a guy that I'm not loaded with conviction on, then I'm 100% trading back. Like for example, if Tyler comes to me and he's got 2/3 and he really likes a guy and I'm picking at 207, then I may just let him have him. Give me the two picks in the third. And I just feel like the more chances I have right there, the better chance I have to get a hit. But that's the way I think about this. Like I want as many picks as I can possibly get. The more picks you have, the better, and the more opportunities you have to get it right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're casting a wider net at that point. If you've got multiple shots,
Hmm.
you're able to possibly hit a little bit easier than taking one proverbial throw at the dartboard as you would. Well, yeah, guys, that's all the strategies that we have for you today. We're obviously looking forward to the NFL draft to kind of see where these landing spots shake up, rankings for players, and just kind of see how they fit into the dynasty landscape. But without further ado, we're going to wrap things up here. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to the FF Faceoff YouTube channel, and we'll catch you in the next one.